been very controversial for you. And this is, you got in trouble for refusing to call trans men and women by their preferred personal pronouns.
No,
I want to
that's
ask,
not actually...
Okay, I'm going to tell you what's about to happen with this shit. Okay? I'm about to tell you what's about to happen with this shit. This woman, Kathy, is that her name? Kathy, is about to pin this man, Jordan, with a ton of bullshit assumptions as to what he said, and it's all gonna be false, right? So she's gonna paint the scenario, because this is what they do, right? They paint scenarios that aren't realistic, and they try to ask you questions and rephrase your worldview, when in reality, it's not how you were thinking, it's not how you were saying, and they try to play word games. This is what a lot of these news outlets, these bullshit ass brainwashing news outlets do. So let's see if this is an accurate assessment.
and this is, you got in trouble for refusing to call
Got in trouble. Let's see.
trans men and women by their preferred personal pronouns.
No,
I want to
that's
ask,
not actually true. I got in trouble because I said I would not follow the compelled speech dictates of the federal and provincial government. I actually never got in trouble for not calling anyone anything.
You see, automatically, they try to pin you for something that you're not. They try to tell you that what you're doing is this, even though it's not that. And they try to completely skew the narrative. So this dude, Jordan, basically says, you know what? I do not want to follow this stupid ass law where I'm supposed to call somebody for what they are, what they're not. I just want to use the normal ass pronouns that everybody uses, because I don't want to be out here doing this dumbass shit, right? Where I need to be labeling people bug like this mother did for her kid. But this lady completely skews it.
That didn't happen.
you wouldn't follow the change of law which was designed.
No.
Of course not, bitch. Why would I follow the change of law? What is a change of law? Why would I follow this bullshit ass change of law when the law makes no fucking sense?
But once it was
Outlaw
law,
discrimination.
no.
Why
Well,
should
that's
your...
what they said it was designed to do.
Okay, you cited freedom of speech in that. Why should your right to freedom of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
Because it's not a freedom of speech that he's talking about. He just doesn't want to say some bullshit or be cornered by some bullshit that isn't realistic. That's what it is. It's not freedom of speech.
Your right to freedom of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
Because in order to be able to think, you
have to be willing. If you want to think, right? If you want to have freedom of thought, you must be willing to say things that are going to make people unfucking comfortable. That's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. The reason you're in here is because I might say shit that might offend you, and that's okay. Okay?
In that, why should your right...
So why should your right to be offended, like to talk, trump the person's right to be
freedom
offended?
of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
because in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive.
100%. Because your thoughts are different. This shit's so easy, bro.
I mean, look at the conversation we're having right now. You know, like you're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that? It's been rather uncomfortable.
Well, I'm very glad I put you on the spot.
Well,
I'm glad I put you on the spot, but if you put a transvestite person on the spot, now you're a fucking bigot. Because you haven't created a safe space for this person in order to do something that most people are not comfortable with, like weird-ass pronoun shit.
I'm very glad that I have exercised my
Double standards.
point. You get my point. It's like you're doing what you should do, which is digging a bit to see what the hell's going on.
So
and that is what you should do. But you're exercising your freedom of speech to certainly risk offending me. And that's fine. I think more power to you as far as I'm concerned.
Because that
you haven't
symbols
sat
maturity.
there and I'm just trying.
I don't. Man, this guy's smart. This guy's smart. Let me try to comprehend what he's trying to say.
So you haven't sat there and I'm just.
Bro, I can't wait to have this shit in real life, bro. This shit's about to be funny, bro. I gotta be debating some of these people, bro. I need my Minecraft safe space, bro. Shout out to Philip. I need my Minecraft safe space. Can somebody build me a safe space server on Minecraft?
Trying to work that out. I mean,
Ha, gotcha.
Gotcha, bitch.
You have got me. You have got me. I'm trying to work that through in my head. Yeah.
I'm trying to work through my head what it means to have freedom of speech and think independently and risk offending people who don't think like me. I'm trying to wrap my head against that crazy principle. Against my crazy principle. Ugh. Yo, y'all ready for this shit? W in the chat, bro. W in the chat if you're ready for this shit, bro. We're about to go to the fucking moon, baby. Oh man, I've never thought about that. I never thought about that principle of thinking for myself and offending people. Well, that makes sense. Now let me find something to be completely against that thought. Let me fabricate some bullshit. Ah, man. I'm having a good ass time, bro. I'm just glad I'm watching this on stream with you guys because we all think the same way. The best part is I don't have to fucking think of this by myself and look at this dumbass video and be like, damn, like, am I the only person thinking this way? I'm glad we're in this together, boys.
Took a while.
It did, yeah.
Took a while. You have voluntarily come into the studio and agreed to be questioned.
Mm-hmm.
A trans person in your class has come to your class and said they want to be called
That's never happened.
You see, bro? They're making these stupid... I told you guys from the beginning of the video, they're going to make these stupid-ass accusations and scenarios that are not realistic. They're not realistic, and that's how they live. They make these dumbass scenarios. The same thing happens with abortion. They say, well, what about the 1% of the woman that was raped and all this bullshit? It doesn't disprove the fact that the point still stands, and they use these vague arguments that make no sense whatsoever to validate their points, and then they get absolutely schooled. I love this shit, bro.
And I would call them she.
So you would. So you've kind of changed your tune on that.
No.
Man said I would call them she. What a fucking
That's
G.
never happened. And I would call them she.
So you would. So you've kind of changed your tune on that.
No, I said that right from the
Man,
beginning. What I said at the beginning was that I was not going to cede the linguistic territory to radical leftists, regardless of whether
Boom.
or not it was put in law. That's what I said. And then the people who came after me said, oh, you must be transphobic and you'd mistreat a student in your class. It's like, I never mistreated a student in my class. I'm not transphobic, and that isn't what I said.
Well, except you've also called trans...
I want to talk about this phobia thing. Like, I want to talk about this phobia thing because I think definitions are extremely important. Let me pull up the dictionary, bro. I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. I want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. So we got Britannica, the dictionary, whatever. We're all on the same page, okay? And phobia. So we talk about transphobia, blah 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 blah, all this phobia stuff. Extreme, strong dislike or fear of someone or something. So I want to make a point here. I like everybody. I don't strongly dislike anybody unless like you're a rapist or some like child predator or child molester. And I don't fear any of these people, right? So let's just get that straight. Like, let's just get that out of the way here because they use these terms. They use these terms so loosely, and they're so insulting with these terms. They're so insulting with these terms that they pin these comments like racist and bigot and misogynist and transphobic and all the phobias, arachnophobic and whatever it is, I don't know, bro.
Campaigners authoritarian, haven't you? I mean, isn't that grossly...
Well, only in the broader context of my claims that radical leftist ideologues are authoritarian,
Yes,
which
but
they are.
You're saying someone who's trying to work out their gender identity, who may well have struggled with that, had quite a
No
tough
doubt
time
have
over the
struggled
years.
with it, yeah.
You're comparing them with, you know, Chairman Mao, who
just the
saw the
activists.
deaths of millions of people. Well,
Just the
even if the
activists.
activists, you know, they're trans people too. They have a right to say these things.
Yeah, but they don't have
Isn't
a
it
right to
grossly
speak for their whole community.
To compare them to Chairman Mao or, you know, Pinochet, Augusto Pinochet. I mean, you know, this is grossly insensitive. Isn't
I
it?
didn't compare them to Pinochet.
Well,
I did compare them to
He
Mao.
was an authoritarian.
He's a
wasn't he?
right-winger, though. I was comparing them to the left-wing totalitarians. And
Okay,
I do believe they are left-wing totalitarians.
Under Mao, millions of people.
Mao, China, Pinochet, if I'm not mistaken, was Chile, dictator of Chile. Can somebody confirm that Pinochet was the dictator of Chile?
Died.
Right.
I mean, There's no comparison between Mao and a trans activist, is there?
Why not?
Because trans activists aren't killing millions of people?
The philosophy that's guiding their utterances is the same philosophy.
The consequences are...
The consequences. You can't see the consequences of behavior unless it's an extended period of time. The principle is forcing people to be and do something that they don't want to do.
Yet,
You're saying that trans activists could lead to the deaths of
No, that's not what he's saying.
millions of people.
no, I'm saying that the philosophy that drives their utterances is the same philosophy that already has driven us to the deaths of millions of people.
Okay, tell us how that philosophy is in any way comparable.
Sure, that's no problem.
I love this man, bro. This man came prepared. Give it to us, Jordan. Give it to us. Type J in the chat, baby. J in the chat for type JP. We gotta get JP on this bitch, baby. Was Pinochet was he Chile, or is that Chile or something? I believe so. I believe he was I think he was the president of a Chile, or the dictator of Chile during the Falkland Wars with Argentina and the UK, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to JP, brother. Come on.
The first thing is that the philosophy presumes that group identity is paramount. That's the fundamental philosophy that drove the Soviet Union and Maoist China. And it's the
grouping people all together like this. If you do not comply to this, you're fucked. Shout out to
fundamental philosophy of the left-wing activists. It's identity politics. It doesn't matter who you are as an individual. It matters who you are in terms of your...
And the conglomerate, what you mean, what you are in the machine, how you comply in the machine.
Group identity.
You're just saying things, though, to provoke, aren't you? I mean, you are a provocateur.
I never said
You're like
anything.
the alt-right that you hate to be compared.
You're like the alt-right, whatever that means, is AKA you like to provoke people. That's what it is. You like to provoke people. You like to have an argument, and you like to make a comparison that's going to provoke other people.
You want to stir things up.
I'm only a provocateur insofar as when I say what I believe to be true, it's provocative. I don't provoke. Maybe
my mindset, my point of view is that provokes individuals, but that doesn't mean I'm a provocateur.
Be for humor.
Don't set out to
now
provoke.
And then. I'm not interested in provoking.
But what about the thing about, fighting and the lobster? Tell us about the lobster.
Well, that's quite a segue. Well, the first chapter I have in my book is called Stand Up Straight with Your Shoulders Back. And it's an injunction to be combative, not least to further your...
Do you guys realize that anytime you try to be combative, anytime you try to, that you talk about, the world being like warfare, that the business space being like a battlefield, they completely disregard it as some sort of bullshit?
Career, let's say, but also to adopt a stance of ready engagement with the world and to reflect that in your posture. And the reason that I write about lobsters is because there's this idea that hierarchical structures are a sociological construct of the Western patriarchy. And that is so
it's so untrue. This shit's been around since the beginning of time.
Untrue that it's almost unbelievable. And I use the lobster as an example because the lobster, we divulged from lobsters in evolutionary history about 350 million years ago. Common ancestor. And lobsters exist in hierarchies. And they have a nervous system attuned to the hierarchy. And that nervous system runs on serotonin, just like our nervous systems do.
Ooh, wait till we cover serotonin, baby.
And the nervous system of the lobster and of the human being is so similar that antidepressants work on lobsters. And it's part of my attempt to demonstrate that the idea of hierarchy has absolutely nothing to do with sociocultural construction, which it doesn't.
Subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, subscribe. Invite one or two motherfuckers to the stream. I don't like this terrible ass number. This 666 shit kind of bothers me. Invite some motherfuckers. Like if you haven't already. And
just get this straight. You're saying that we should...
Okay, so this is what she does, right? She does this over and over and over again. The guy makes a point, and then what she does is like, instead of being like, okay, I understand this point, she's going to be like, so what you're saying, and now she's about to say something that is completely different to what he just said. Watch.
Organize our societies along the lines of the lobsters.
I'm saying that it's inevitable that there will be continuity in the way that animals and human beings organize their structures. It's absolutely inevitable. And there is 1/3 of a billion years of evolutionary history behind that. Right? That's so long that 1/3 of a billion years ago, there weren't even trees. It's a long time. You have a mechanism in your brain that runs on serotonin that's similar to
Not only your brain, but also in your gut.
the lobster mechanism that tracks your status. And the higher your status, the better your emotions are regulated. So as you...
Why do you think they want to fuck up your food, ladies and gentlemen? Look at a lot of these people that have these worldviews. A lot of these guys that have these worldviews, their estrogen level is so fucking through the roof. Their diet is so terrible. They're soy boys, literally by definition, right? By definition, they are soy boys. They are chemically imbalanced.
Your serotonin levels increase, you feel more positive emotions.
Positive emotion. Serotonin is known as the happy... Bro, Jordan, you're a fucking G, bro. I fucking love this shit, bro. I read your book once and that's all. And somebody sent me this stuff today to check out your stuff. I love this. Serotonin is known as the happy chemical. It's formed, 90% of the serotonin is formed in your gut. A lot of people have terrible, shitty diets, and now we're seeing a massive decline in society, possibly because of the irregulation and imbalance, partially, of your neurochemistry. So, yeah, great points here, brother.
Emotion and less
Shout out to
negative
JP.
emotion.
So you're saying, like the lobsters, we're hardwired as men and women to do certain things, to sort of run along tram lines, and there's nothing we can do about it?
No, I'm not saying there's nothing we can do about it, because it's like in a chess game, right? There's lots of things that you can do, although you can't break the rules of...
You can't break the rules of the game, but you have tendencies that you're going to hinge towards based off of your perspective. Let's see.
the chess game and continue to play chess. And your biological nature is somewhat like that, is it sets the rules of the game, but within those rules you have a lot of leeway. But the idea that, but one thing we can't do is say that hierarchical organization is a consequence of the capitalist patriarchy. It's like, that's patently absurd. It's wrong. It's not a matter of opinion. It's seriously wrong.
Aren't you just whipping people up into a state of anger? And
Not at all.
Divisions between men and women, you're stirring people up. You know, you have any critics of you online get absolutely lambasted by your followers.
Hey, lambast motherfuckers if they talk shit about me, right? I don't care. Oh, but look, he's instigating his followers to hate. Nah, bro, send him a comment, be like, Jesus loves you. That's what you guys got to comment. If I ever get hated on, just go into their comment section and say Jesus loves you, and they'll go crazy, bro. They'll go crazy. That's what we got. That's how we got to talk. You feel me? That'll be our hate language. We'll just say Jesus loves you.
You've
And
got to
by
call
me,
them off, haven't
generally.
you? Sorry, your critics get followers. You've
And
got to
by
call
me,
them off, haven't
generally.
you? Sorry, your critics get lambasted by you. I mean,
If
isn't
they're
that
academics,
irresponsible?
not at all. If an academic is going to come
Okay.
after me and tell me that I'm not qualified and that I don't know what I'm talking about,
So
like,
you're
it's
not going to say
seriously
to your
not the
followers
same.
now, quit the abuse, quit the anger.
Well, we'd need some substantial examples of the abuse and the anger before I could detail that question.
There's a lot of it out there.
Let's take a more general perspective on that. So I've had 25,000 letters since June, something like that, from people who told me that I've brought them back from the brink of destruction. And so I'm perfectly willing to put that up against the rather vague accusations that my followers are making the lives of people that I've targeted miserable.
What's in it for the women, though?
Well, what sort of partner do you want? Do you want an overgrown child? Or do you want someone to contend with that's going to help you and that
So
you
you're
can
saying
rely on?
women have some sort of duty to sort of help fix the crisis of masculinity?
It depends on what they want. No, I mean,
I don't know what they want, bro.
it's exactly how I laid it out. Like, women deeply want men who are competent and powerful. And I don't mean power in
In a masculine, toxic masculine type of power, as in your ability to have self-control, your ability to care for your house, your ability to be a man, your ability to stand for what is right, your ability to have conviction, your ability to work hard, your ability to overcome challenges, not be a pussy and a coward when life throws bullshit at you. That is what it means to be a man.
are competent and powerful. And I don't mean power in that they can exert tyrannical control over others. That's not power. That's just corruption. Power is competence. And why in the world would you not want a competent partner? Well, I know why, actually. You can't dominate a competent partner.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We're going into domination mode. We're going into domination mode here. Hey, Anthony, sorry about these edits, bro. You're going to have to go back and forth with the shit. You can just, on Premiere Pro, just pin my face, and it'll kind of move the camera with my face.
Control over others. That's not power. That's just corruption. Power is competence over others in that they can exert tyrannical control over others. That's not power. That's just corruption. Power is competence. And why in the world would you not want a competent partner? Well, I know why, actually. You can't dominate a competent partner. So if you want domination...
Want to dominate, is that what you're saying?
No, I'd say women who have had their relationships impaired.
Past trauma is going to make women want to be bitchy. Watch this, man. Say this in a very nice way.
Want to dominate, is that what you're saying?
No, I'd say women who have had their relationships impaired, their relationships with men impaired. And
fucking say it, Jordan. Say that these women are bitchy as fuck because they've dated low-level individuals or they've been in low-level situations, whether it's from a parental structure or relational structure, where they want things done in their way, and it doesn't fucking work that way, bro.
Who are afraid of such relationships will settle for a weak partner because they can dominate them. But it's a suboptimal solution.
Do you think that's what a lot of women are doing?
I think there's a substantial minority of women who do that. And
I love this man, bro.
I think it's very bad for them. They're very unhappy. It's very bad for their partners, although their partners get the advantage of not having to take any responsibility.
But what gives you the right to say that? I mean, maybe that's how women want their relationships, those women. I mean, you're making these vast generalizations.
I'm a clinical psychologist.
Right, so you're saying you've done your research and women are unhappy dominating men.
I didn't say they were unhappy.
Bro, do you see this bitch? She's making statements. The guy didn't even say that stuff, bro. He didn't even say any of that stuff.
Dominating men. I said it was a bad long-term solution.
Okay, you said it was making them miserable.
Thing. Yes, it is. And it depends on the time frame. I mean, there's intense pleasure in momentary domination. That's why people do it all the time. But it's no formula for a successful long-term relationship. That's reciprocal, right? Any long-term relationship is reciprocal.
All right, perfect. Liberty Hound.